Start now.
Okay? October the 11th is the freeze law date. What that means is you're not supposed to be able to dig in the ground after that date because the ground gets cold before we feel it and it becomes too hard. So you start digging, you can create earthquakes and causing different things to shift. That law does not lift here until May 2nd, the following year.
So from October 11th to May 2nd, there's no construction underground.
Supposedly. Now, you know, the government can do what they want to do. But think about it. Your highways and stuff up here, they stop working on. Really. Because the weather becomes too inclement for them. You see what I'm saying? So, but legally, that's what the freeze law says. So then we received the city received $27 million to do the pipes. Then they claim that the bids, 3 bids that had come in, were too high. It's always something. Then they claim that they were only going to do, initially, 250 homes as a trial. I mean, come on. But then we find out that the stress on the, what's that up underground? You know, the bigger pipes? You know, where the water flows through to get to the homes. All of those have to be changed out first. So, to answer your question, I don't know how long. I do know for the next 12 months, and I can't tell you what's going to happen after that. But for the next 12 months, I'd like to see our nutrition center be able to stay open. I'd like to see us be able to continue. We paid $800 and I had 2 forklifts at one time. One we were paying $13.50 on, the other we were paying $8.50. And we just had them to pick up just this past week, last past Friday, the one for $13.50. And that's because we really don't have enough water to use the 2. But that's how much water we were getting at one time. And I know I've given you a lot of information, but I hope you can see my passion. And I've seen people look like they have leprosy, herpes, all over their bodies, chicken pox that can't heal. And these are not black people. These are white people. You understand what I'm saying? This is not a black or a white issue. This is a people issue. And the problem I'm having is initially they wanted to make it a black thing. It's not. It's a people thing. And I just don't know where we're going after this. I don't know where we're going after this. So I hope I've answered your question as to what kind of help do we need? Why do we need this help? I would have to say to you, Dr. Bonner, that we have serviced. Let me just give you an example. On yesterday, we serviced roughly 516 vehicles. Each of those vehicles usually is picking up for minimum two families. Very, very seldom do they just pick up for themselves. They helping somebody else as well. So,
can I just add that over 20% of the population don't have access to a vehicle?
Right.
So that's part of that.
That's part of that. That's part of that. And if you look and just multiply, let's just take half of that. Let's just say 250 cars times 6 a week. A week. And we've been doing this since the 3rd week in January. That'll tell you, and I wanted you to see this so you can see for yourself I'm not exaggerating. And do you realize I'm probably one of the only people who has these kind of records? Because they trust us. We don't ask for, because we have a lot of documented people that come through here. So we don't ask for ID, and we don't ask for a driver's license. If they put it down, I trust them. You understand? And because of that, I've never had not one person to not give it to us. Not one. Sometimes we bag up the food. We're not at a point where we can have reclamation where they can go in and pick out what they want. We're not at that point. And sometimes I see mothers with 2 and 3 cars, baby seats in the back. I'll just kind of double up a little bit, you know, for them, because I know it's hard. So many of them don't have jobs. I've had, in the heat, I've had people make me crochet hats for me, even though it's too hot to wear it.
Mm-hmm.
But
want to give you something.
Want to give me something. I've had children, small elementary school, raise money. Last week, if Floyd was in here, he could attest, I received a call where this man's daughter was turning like 8. And she told her family, instead of giving me a birthday party, I want you to take whatever monies you were gonna give me and let's go buy water for Flint. And they brought it down, and we took pictures and stuff like that, and let her, you know, give water out. Yeah, and that was the best thing. You know, we've had school-age children. They would write little scriptures and put it around the bottles and bring that. It has just been. I will say this: you can say what you want to say about Mark Givens and P. Diddy, but they've had continuous water to come.
Wow.
Continuous water. I have to be very, very careful. The state has given me that water because that water sells in GNC for $28 a case. So we have to be very careful how we give it out, because in some of the state pods, people have actually started fighting because they can sell it. They can sell it. So you see what we're up against. But when they come to my place, I don't have no problems with them. Number one, they know I'm crazy.
Well, you have to be to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need people who are out of the norm.
Out of the norm. I'm out of the norm. I'll say I'm out of the norm. But
Well, I really appreciate this, and this is a great documentary for you too.
okay.
Yeah. For a website or something, to say what you know
Yeah.
and what you've done.
Yeah.
You know, and how crucial this is.
Yeah. Our donations, financial donations, have been very limited. I would have to say our biggest supporter in financial donations these past 4 months has been United Way. I couldn't have made it without it. We've had contributions from the various bishops and so forth around the country. But, you know, like the largest one we received was $2,000. You know what I'm saying? And when you have people, I'm a black woman raised in the 60s. I know what it means to not have. But you know, back then we didn't know we didn't have. That's the difference. What our parents had was what you had. You didn't know that you didn't have. You know, you just made do. And so, one thing this crisis, in my opinion, has brought about is people like you. People like you. The camaraderie that would not have been there. God has made us more conscious of one another. I was invited to a meeting with the United States Secretary of Labor Chin, and sitting in a setting similar to this, and when the meeting was over, I noticed how everybody in that room hung around, talking to one another. Not necessarily so much about the water crisis, but talking. 3 years ago, even if he had come and the same people had been in that room, when the meeting was over, everybody would have gotten up and left.
And when you say everybody, what do you mean?
What I mean is the CEO from United Way, the CEO from Community Foundation, the CEO from Mott Foundation, the CEO from Catholic Charities, the CEO from Genesee Health Systems, the CEOs, all these different high-level people, the CEO from Action Management, from GST Michigan Works, their directors and so forth. All of these were high level, and we were all specifically handpicked and invited to come. And I can just remember when everyone would have just, been polite and excused themselves. But now there are no titles. You see, because most of the people, and I will have to say a lot of the people in that room live in Flint. Not everybody lives in Flint outside, like in Flushing and Grand Blanc and, the different areas. A lot of those people that are at a higher level still live in Flint. So now we all have something in common, see. And so the love for one another, when I moved here from Texas, I could not get over, in Texas, you walking down the street, you don't just nod. You say, hey, what's going on? When I came up here, people look upside the wall to keep from speaking. Not anymore. Not anymore. People are speaking, people are talking. What are you all doing? How are you handling this? What's going on with you guys? I mean, they're wanting to know. And then I've even had some to be so generous, like Catholic Charities, to say, listen, I've got a truck sending me some rice. You're not going to believe this. 3 tons of rice. And they called, am I telling the truth? And they called me and said, would you take half? We took half of a ton, 3 tons, we got 1,500 tons of rice. We bagged that rice up. Can you believe people in line to get rice? Rice. In America. And you're asking me, what are my needs? My needs are, we need some food for these people. And so I'm like, okay, what goes with rice? So I go to Sam's, where they have the big 5-pound bags, 10-pound things of beans. We go to the food bank where we can get reclamation and buy it by the pound opposed to by the item. And so the lines yesterday, we had a food bank truck, had produce and stuff on it. We've had donations. Tata Technologies had donated $25,000, and half of it went to our location and half went to another church, Second Chance. And so they didn't give us the money, but they donated it to the food bank, and the food bank brought a truck out worth $12,500. Dr. Bonner, the line wrapped around for over a mile. This front parking lot, just the front, is also as big as a football field. They were lined up from Pearson Road